Hey parents, are you burnt out from daily meltdowns, tantrums, and constant behavior battles with your toddler? If you're like most parents we meet at Renegade Chiropractic, you've probably tried everything from timeouts to sticker charts, parenting books, even talking to specialists, yet nothing seems to stick, right? And the most frustrating part is being told that they're going to grow out of it or that medication is the only option when deep down your gut's screaming that there must be another way, right? This video is for the parents who are exhausted from managing the emotional outbursts every single day, who are looking for a natural drug-free path to finally get answers and finally find relief. So what you're going to learn from this video is quite a bunch. We're going to show you the profound connection between your child's nervous system and their behavior and why most traditional approaches just don't go deep enough. You'll also see how neurologically focused chiropractic care can help your child finally feel calm, connected, and confident too. So I want to share a story about my own daughter, and we've posted about her on social media, but she's this kid. She's the kid that is just super outbursty. She definitely has a lot of struggles when it comes to being able to handle her emotions. Sometimes it seems like her emotions are too big for her body, right? And she acts out. It's not that she's trying to get attention, but that when things don't go her way, it really impacts how she acts throughout the rest of her day, right? And sometimes she can come back from it and be calm again. But before we had her on consistent chiropractic care, it was really difficult. And as we started getting her adjusted on a regular basis, she's able to manage her emotions a lot better. She's able to listen and stay on task a lot better, which is huge. You've probably experienced where you're like, hey, it might not be a toddler, it might be like your 5 or 6 year old. In my case, my daughter's 7 right now, but you like say, hey, you need to go and get this done, right? You need to do this task and go get dressed so that we can go where we're trying to go. And you expect her to go do it, and one of two things happens. She'd either lose her mind because she didn't want to go yet, or she would go to do the thing and get incredibly distracted and not do the thing, and then we'd ask her to do it again and she'd be like, I forgot. And we're like, it's okay that you forgot, but will you please just do it? Only to come back again and find her not having done whatever that thing was that we asked her to do, right? So I know that's a very familiar story for a lot of parents, and what we found as we started getting her adjusted on a regular basis is that her nervous system was able to adapt appropriately. Her nervous system was able to allow her to do the things that she's supposed to do. Again, staying on task is better. Eating all of her food actually is something that improved really well for her. And just getting the things done that we need her to do it goes easier. It's not always a fight, right? And that's one of the things that I hear from a lot of parents is that it's such a fight to get my kid to do anything. And so what we found, again, as we dialed in her care is that, and got her adjusted more frequently on a regular basis, that her nervous system and her brain and her body just started to do the things that they were supposed to do. And I don't look at it as necessarily a miracle. I think that, again, it is a miracle, but it's also one of those situations where when we give the brain and the body the information that it needs, then our kids can just thrive. And so it's been one of the coolest things to see. Now she does a whole lot better than when we weren't getting her adjusted on a regular basis. So for her, it's interesting because we tried all the things, right? We tried the sticker charts. We tried the reward system. We tried, hey, if you do these things appropriately, if you do enough things enough times appropriately, then you can have a treat, or we can go out for ice cream. And what that just established was, I'll be good during this phase, knowing that there's a reward at the end. But once that phase is over, then she would no longer continue the habit that we had tried to build by doing those sorts of things, right? And now, because her nervous system's well taken care of, it has enough calm in it, we can do stuff like that with her. We can establish different charts or reward systems. For example, great example is we've been telling her, hey, you want to paint your bedroom, right? If you want to paint your bedroom, then here's what you have to do. You have to get up, and you have to get out of bed, and you don't have to argue with us. You just have to have like a calm morning, keeping in mind that at the end of this, we'll go and pick out the paint that you want, and we can paint your bedroom. and she was able to do that for the number of days in a row that we talked about. And what's cool is, since her nervous system is calm enough, we've actually been able to establish a pattern with her so that she continues to do those things. So all because she's well adjusted, right? And so it's super cool. So let's hop into more content here, because what I want is for you to actually have an understanding of why kids are this way and why traditional approaches don't really work, and what you can do about it now with chiropractic care. So let's hop into it. So first thing I want to talk about is the gas pedal and brakes of the nervous system. It's called the autonomic nervous system, and there's two sides to it: the sympathetic side, which is the gas pedal, the fight or flight and freeze side. And then we've got the parasympathetic side, which is the brake pedal, the rest, digest, regulate, and heal side. What will happen a lot of times if your child is on edge, they're melting down a lot, they can't calm themselves, it's a sign that their gas pedal is actually stuck on and their brakes aren't kicking in. And so what will happen is the prefrontal cortex will go offline, and that's the part of the brain that's responsible for emotional regulation and impulse control, and can't function when the body is in constant survival mode. And then one of the things that will take over is the amygdala, which is the anger, outburst, malfunctioning zone. It's not that we don't need that area, but that area of the brain also controls the fight or flight response, and kids will go into a very high fight or flight state again if that prefrontal cortex is shut down. Then that amygdala is overpowering, okay? So one of the things that parents will ask me is, well, when does this all start? Like, it seems like sometimes my kid has just always been this way. Pregnancy is a component. If pregnancy was stressful for mom, that can be a big component to it. If birth was really stressful for mom as well too, if maybe birth was too long, or maybe birth was really, really fast, or maybe there was interventions. Those things actually lead to a higher fight or flight state, not for just mom during delivery, right? But also for baby. That puts a lot of stress on baby's nervous system, and actually a very physical way, right? Then what happens if baby stays in that stressed out state from birth? Then that can progress and grow into maybe an infant that struggles with something like colic, right? Or doesn't breastfeed super well, or maybe is constipated, or is not sleeping super good, right? And if a baby stays in that state, then that can progress into a toddler that maybe is overreactive and has a really big emotional outbursts that are beyond normal, right? Because outbursts, I think, are just part of learning and growing, but they shouldn't always be the normal, right? So, and then if a toddler stays in that state of emotional outbursts, then potentially they become a younger child that has trouble connecting and making friends, right? And then from there, a kiddo that has trouble connecting and making friends, when they get into teenage years, maybe they're angry and depressed teenager or something like that. So this series of events and things that happen, we actually call the perfect storm. And it builds up over time. So the next thing here is the vagus nerve. It's the calm connector. This incredible nerve, it connects the brain to the gut, the lungs, the heart, and when it's stressed or misfiring, we often see more of these meltdowns, mood swings, poor sleep, digestive issues, picky eating, emotional disconnection, all this stuff. So there's something called subluxation in the chiropractic world. Basically what subluxation is it's stress that gets stuck on the nervous system in a multitude of different ways. These multitude of ways we're not going to go into depth, but it's physical stressors, emotional stressors, chemical stressors. These get stuck on the nervous system and create dysfunction and miscommunication from the brain to the rest of the body. Neurologically, what will happen from a chiropractic perspective is we make adjustments, and it helps clear that stress from the nervous system, leading to a more appropriate communication from the brain to the body. So statistically speaking, according to the CDC, 1 in 7 kids ages 3 to 17 are diagnosed with a behavioral or emotional disorder, but millions more are struggling silently, undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, or just misunderstood. And what we found is, families are desperate for answers. One of the reasons why we have all this buildup of stats and numbers is because most traditional care is focused above the surface. So pediatricians will give reassurances, therapists offer strategies, meds manage symptoms, but when the nervous system is the root cause, these efforts are really like trying to teach your child to swim in a storm, right? Until you calm the nervous system, nothing really sticks. It's kind of like if you throw a kid into a river and say, hey, you're going to learn how to swim, and they've never swam before. Their nervous system is constantly trying to swim and fight upstream, as opposed to them learning how to swim in a pool, right? And progressively going into deeper water, right? We want to slowly introduce them to that so that their nervous system can handle it. But when they just get thrown into the river and immediately have to figure it out, it's too much for them and they drown, right? And so what we want to do is help them manage the way that they get introduced to the water. So the missing piece in so many different cases is the state of a child's nervous system. Their brain and body are stuck in that fight or flight defense mode, and until that shifts, the behavior won't shift either. That's why when we see families who've tried everything, they finally get results once we look deeper into their nervous system. So at Renegade Chiropractic, what makes us different is that we don't guess, we actually test. So we use insight scans where we can actually measure how much stress is built up in your child's nervous system. And then we can create a personalized plan to help calm and regulate and rebalance their nervous system. And from there, once we create that plan, it's just gentle adjustments to help your kiddo's brain and body regulate so that they can communicate the right information and handle all the stress that life throws at them, right? So rather than them having a bucket that's just constantly being filled and overfilled and spilling over the edge, they're able to regulate how much water comes in and out and balance it out. Ultimately, balancing out that bucket of water allows real transformation from the chaos that they're swimming in to go from surviving to actually thriving. So if you just imagine your child being able to cope, communicate, and connect in a way that maybe you never knew they were capable of, just like my kiddo and just like so many other kids that we've served in our office at Renegade Chiropractic, I really believe and we know that your child's behavior is communication. And when it's bad communication, right, or uncomfortable communication, then we just have to do something different about it, right? We can't just slap labels over it. We can't just say, hey, they'll just grow out of this. That's not how health works, right? They don't grow out of something, they grow into another series of stressors, right? So once we figure out what type of communication their nervous system's giving off, we're here to help you decode that and then heal the root cause of the issues. So click the link in our bio or check the caption or the description of the video to schedule a consultation so that you can see what your kid's insight scans look like. The goal is to help your child move from just surviving in a somewhat crazed state, right, to thriving at home in their own body, doing the things that they love to do, which ultimately allows you to see them do the things that you want to see them do, right, which is enjoying life and being happy. So let us know how we can help. I am excited to be able to talk to you soon.